Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are excited to have our next guest here, new to us in our Zoom room. Yeah, Andrew Dale joining us here. Excited here from his head coach at Andrew J. Dale Coaching, and he's from Annapolis, Maryland. And we're going to talk today in regards to the work that he does and, of course, how we can help all of you. Andrew J. Dale, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself to our listeners today.
Hi, Jill. Thanks for having me. My name's Andrew Dale. I'm down here in Maryland, as Jill said. I'm a life coach. So what that is moving forward quickly in your life by resolving things from the past and also creating your future. So it's generally about it's a 3-month program that I run. And I'm actually doing a Cyber Monday special where I'm going to have an additional support for 6 sessions after that, run a month, just to make sure that you're on track and everything else. That's very unusual for me to offer that. So that's an extra for the Cyber Monday special. But I find people go from uncertainty and stress to very calm and focus. That's the main outcome. And so that's what we seek.
Perfect. Well, how do we get in touch with you? How do we find out more about this special? Give us your website if you don't mind.
Sure. It's andrewjdale.com, or you can give me a call. My number is 410-991-8119.
Perfect.
So either of those.
Good. Talk to me. So in 3 months, you create this vision. Give us a little background about what the program entails, since this is all new to us.
Okay. So effectively, the first 4 weeks, we do one session a week, and that's getting your foundation down. So we go through and we sort out what's bugging you right now, what's held over from the past, and what we need to resolve. You can't change the past, but you can certainly change the energy around it. I find a lot with people who've been bullied or people who've got some trauma there. Anyone who's my age probably had their parents' idea of discipline is different to what we do today. So there was, my father was a little bit obsessed, but anyway, we won't go there. So some discipline bordered on abuse, whereas these days it's a lot calmer than that, but there's still a lot of those traumas around that we have to resolve. Some of them are big, some of them are just us, living in the past with things that used to serve us. So like when we were young, we might have had a set of beliefs that, that suited that school atmosphere. And now we're out on our own, and those beliefs around someone will come and save me, all of that, they no longer serve us quite often, or when you go back to your childhood, if you're around my age, I'm in my 60s now, our parents were taught by people who lived in the 1800s. So, when you go back that far, those habits actually came through, some of those ideas and things like that. And some of them are great, like stop and smell the roses came from my grandmother and my great-grandmother. And it's a great thing to remember, stop and be grateful and appreciate what's around you. Other things like, they were basic stuff. They were hand washing their washing back then. So we could do that now if we wanted to. So anyway, habits of the past, they're all over the place. A lot of it's bullying. I find a lot of people got bullied at school and they remember getting bullied. Whereas when I go back there and talk to them about it, quite often they were very respected, but they've forgotten that part of it. They had really good grades. The teachers liked them a lot. They had good friends, but all they remember from that period is the bullying, and it gave them gave them a resistance to moving forward in certain areas. So a certain characteristic in a person and maybe a boss, when they come up against it, they shy away because of this past trauma. And when we sit down and resolve that and bring forward that that self-awareness that they were actually a valued person all the way through their life, there was just a few people that didn't value them. And those few people were actually people that were of no value, So now you've given your power to someone you didn't even like, had no integrity. How dare you give away your power to someone who was an idiot? So you got to take your power back. We forget that we're letting someone else control our life who's no longer in it. An example of that for myself was my dad passed away when I was about 19, and I was still dealing with, the way he treated me up until into my 30s and 40s. And then I realized, once I dealt with it and figured out that he did the best he could with the upbringing he had, he went to the Korean War, all of these things played a part in his life. And then he came back and had to try and deal with teenagers. Good luck with that. But he never really coped. But what I realized once I dealt with it, I gave someone power over me who'd been dead for 20 years. How stupid's that? How dumb did I feel? And it's not about beating myself up. It's about coming to the realization that by giving our power to people who don't matter, or giving our power to people who've already passed away, doesn't make any sense. And it's holding us back. So by dealing with that allows our internal light to shine that much brighter, and allows us to really move forward quite quickly. And then we create a vision and start stepping into that vision and talking as though that vision's already here. And what I mean by that is, if you've decided that in 12 months time, or whatever period, we don't normally put periods on it, just because it might come a lot sooner, but we schedule it in that we're going to change the way we're doing something in life. We might want to start a business and have a successful business, right? As a side. And so now we start talking. We know the business. We know what we're going to do. Now we're talking as though it's already completed and a successful business. And by doing that, you're not pretending, you're actually just projecting what's going to happen and making sure that it does, and taking action steps every day towards it because you know it's going to happen. Or it might be, you want a great relationship. Let's change the way we act so that we're already that person who's magnificent, who attracts people who really like the person you're going to be. So you might as well be that person today and allow those people into your life and surround yourself with people that are in synergy with you.
And let me ask you, because being new to you and your work, your techniques, and you in general, and for our listenership, and I think our viewership here, it's good to know, just how did you get into this field? How did you discover all this? Can I just know, where were you born? I don't know anything about you yet as my new friend here. Can you share a little bit of your background? I think it's important about the work you do going forward, and for us to get to know each other, if that's okay.
Absolutely. So I'm a true blue Aussie, is what we call us. So I'm from Australia. I lived in Sydney for many years. I sailed for like 50 years. I still sail today. I love my sailing. I love sailing at night. So out under the stars, nothing like it. But so I've been in America about 6 years. So I'm an American citizen. I moved over here and really enjoying it. I love working with Americans. The main reason is Americans are in a rush. All you need to do normally is slow them down and say, look around you.
Yeah.
and, and allow yourself to pick up the opportunities that you're running past.
Mm-hmm.
And and like the enthusiasm that's built into
It's like, yeah.
to life in America, that drives us forward. That type of enthusiasm, by slowing it down, redirecting it, and then allowing the power to really come into your heart and soul.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Americans are very powerful people, and there's there's so much here to offer, and anyone who really wants to make the most of their life, uh, especially people in their 40s and 50s. A lot of people seem to think that you're coming to the end of your life around the 50s. There's plenty of people in their 90s doing things that are amazing. My mum played tennis. She won the World Tennis Championship for over 85s at the age of 87. And when you watch these people play tennis, they were amazing. Mum used to play the first graders in Australia where she was. And I said to her once, how often do you win? And she goes, oh, about 9 out of 10 times. So we've got half our lives ahead of us. It's important that we make the most of it. So how I got into this, it's just my passion
Mm-hmm.
to help people. And I figured out that no one wants to be told what to do.
So true. But
And
but
so,
part of life, it happens. Mm-hmm.
well, I don't tell anyone what to do. That's not my job. That's why I got the training to be a life coach. So
Awesome.
my job is to ask you hard questions. My job is to find the questions. And this is my personal power, is that when someone says something to me, I'll say, did you listen to what you just said? And
Like,
a lot of the
what?
time they say, yeah,
What?
but I didn't mean that. I said, well, you said it,
Mm-hmm.
so you had to mean it. And then we dig down into those areas very quickly, and we find out what the underlying is, and we resolve it quickly. And that's the training. As I said, I don't tell people what to do. I ask the questions, and we dig down and find out who they are, what they are, because there's 1 billion people on this earth, and every one of them is an individual.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And also, let's point out the best form and all forms of contact for you, if you don't mind sharing with our listeners.
Okay. So, best way is andrewjdale.com is the
Perfect.
website. You can go on there, and we actually let you book a free clarity session. Now, the
Awesome.
clarity session is basically giving you the chance to unpack exactly where you are and where you want to go, and to see if I would be the right fit for you. So that's something we do for free. It's very beneficial because people basically get to tell us what's going on. And and that's just a booking on the website. Or if you want to call me direct, if you've got any questions, my number is 410-991-8119.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you so much. Also, I mean, I was reading before I got to, talk to you in regards to, but you probably, the retirement defined, right? The whole second half of our adult lives. And, that is something is so amazing, because I'm not there yet. I'm 44. I got a 5 and 7-year-old. I'm in the thick of it. But that's something obviously you help a lot of people with, right?
Yeah, look, it's a lot of people get to late 40s, and like teachers are retiring at early 50s. So you're not actually not that far off, but sorry about that, Jill.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But it's important to understand, and I've seen this a lot, where people think of retirement as somewhere to go and sit. And it's just absolutely not that. It is the time when we can make the most of whatever we want to do. If you want to, and I've seen so many things like, as I said, I love my sailing, and there's so many boats that go from, say, Annapolis down to the Bahamas each year to go and race down there. And it's really easy to get crew who are experienced to sail down there. But to actually do the sail down and the sail back, they quite often struggle to get crew. Now, if you're retired and you can sail, that's a great way to go sailing. Same as the tennis. There's tennis circuits all around America. There's tennis circuits all around the world. Imagine if you were doing a tennis circuit and you're retired and you're with all these people with the same passion. It gives you some drive, and and it doesn't matter what area you like. I was talking to someone about woodwork the other day, and I Googled woodwork in their area, and there were all these clubs that do woodwork, and I know of one club where they used to make the furniture and then they'd sell it off. And, there's so many different things if we choose to do it. But the main thing is we get up each day and we go out and we do stuff, and, if you want to travel around the world, it's a perfect time to do it. Or around America.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait for retirement and to talk more about that and to do what I want to do. So we still have 10 minutes left in the 9 minutes left in the show. What else did you want to share with our listeners?
Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about the different things that I've come across. And there's no rules as far as things that hold us back. Like, I had one client who never knew if she could get on an airplane or not. She'd turn up at the airport, and there were times when the tickets were worth $10,000, she couldn't get on the plane. And I worked with her, and we came up. It was an image from the past. I'll put it to you that way. That was that we had to deal with, and we dealt with that. And she was able to get on the plane every time after that. She still got a bit nervous at times, but, she got on the plane every time. So that was massive for her. A lot of people have phobias, and there's no rules to it. I find that the different reasons that people come up with, it's just their reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is. It's just something that we need to deal with. And so, you've got people who don't want to travel in a car, people who they're all based in fact. Somewhere in your past, they're based in fact. Whatever it is, you can't get on an elevator or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of things like that that can severely impact your lives. And look, everyone's different too. There's no guarantees with any of this, but there's certainly, I've had a lot of success with it. So, but all of these things go together to restrict your life going forward. So what happens is, as you knock over things that are holding you back, like, as we were saying before, if you've given your power to someone else to decide, how you're going to live your life, as you knock that one over, there's a whole lot of domino effect that comes into it. So if your relationship will probably improve the moment that you've resolved the issue of bullying from 30, 40 years ago, if you resolve, because all of a sudden you've got self-esteem. All of a sudden you know that was a load of rubbish.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a true story, and and it's amazing. There's no, as I said, some people have the silliest ideas, and when I say the silliest ideas, they might be a very powerful person, but they're jealous of something.
They're jealous. Yep. Lots of jealousy out there. Yep.
Yeah, and it's just it's an emotion that doesn't serve anyone. because now you're looking at the jealousy. You get rid of the jealousy, and all of a sudden you find out that person you're jealous of is actually in synergy with you, and you're a power set instead of being divided, you know. And by changing the way we think about things, and being honest with ourselves. So when I say being honest with ourselves, if we're being ridiculous, or if we're holding on to a past incident in bullying, say, so we were playing basketball, someone shoved us down, and so we said, all right, we're not playing basketball again. That hurt. And we deal with that incident. All of a sudden, you're encouraging your kids to play basketball where you might not have in the past, because you know it was only one incident. You know, it's like, yeah. So it's just a whole. It's important that we're honest. That's what we're after, is the truth, because when we're born, we're a clean slate, and over whatever period, everyone they quiet us down. They tell us not to do this. They tell us not to do that. We conform to this. We conform to that. You know, you're going through school. You're too noisy. You're playing football. You're too rough. You're too this, too that, and all this gets piled on top of us, right? And as we go through and realign ourselves, all of that washes away, because we're no longer trying to be someone we're not. If we can stick to being the person that we are, you know, that some of the people that are around you today might not like the real you, whereas that you'll attract the people around you that do like who you really are, you know? And and I never say to people, you know, you got to get rid of this, that's not what it is. As you grow, people will either grow with you or you'll grow apart. Now, growing apart, that might be you might lessen the amount of time you spend with them and increase the amount of time you spend with someone else. But it's quite often the people that say no to us that are the most valuable to us, you know. And as we get to our truth, we understand more about why people are saying no to us. You know, if you're living a different life where you're saying, well, people are being mean to me because they don't like me, but then you get rid of that prejudgment and you listen to why they're saying no. They're saying no because it's not what you're trying to do isn't aligned with you. A great example is you might be really happy in your job today, but you want to go and do something entirely different. And the mentor might say, everything you've told me, that doesn't align with who you are. And you're going, well, he's just trying to hold me back. But if you're in your truth, you might go, oh, the only reason I want that job is because it pays more money and people will like me more if I get more money. But I'm really happy where I am. I like doing the process work. I don't like the admin work. So what's the point of going to the admin when you like the process? I'm hoping I explained that well.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. So people saying no to you, if you understand it's out of the kindness of their heart, not fighting with you and trying to find your truth, then it's extremely valuable to you.
Beautifully said. Well, thank you so much. And unfortunately, we're just about out of time. We have 2 minutes left. I don't want to cut you short. What else did you want to leave with us before we do have to go?
All right. So one of the things I like to remind people of is create safe spaces. So if you've got a lot of noise going on outside your home at the moment, just pull up next to it. When you get home at night, get out of your car, go and find somewhere around the place and just allow yourself to draw the energy in that's chaotic and leave it at the base of a tree or leave it someplace. All you're doing is putting your hand on your heart and allowing your whole body to settle and allow that disruptive energy just to fall off your
Doing
body
it. Uh-huh.
and leave it outside your house.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you go into the house, if you really want it the next morning, it'll still be there. But if you want to back and pick it up. But
Right.
generally that energy will just dissipate. And the more you do that, the more you will feel at home, like more settled and
Perfect.
able to get on with personal life.
Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time and your perspective. And of course, you being here with all this information. And also, I know I was reading your notes earlier, and it's hard because I have to look down to read it. Don't have my glasses on. But what did you say? There was a key quote, and you've probably talked about it before, but soar with freedom and see your horizons.
That's a great quote.
Right? Shall
Yeah,
we?
absolutely.
Right? We're going to work on it. We're going to be the best we can. And of course, not everybody can. We need to get some guidance, get a help, get a cheerleader, get a coach, someone who can support you. And that's what Mr. Dale's here to do.
Absolutely, yeah. But that's like, people are magnificent. We just have to allow ourselves to be that really magnificent person.
Thank you. You have a fantastic day. One more time, plug the website, Andrew J.
AndrewJDale.com. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time. Have a great day. And to all of our listeners and viewers, we'll be right back with more. Don't go anywhere.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.